Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Monday Morning Art Talk. I'm Steven Silver, character designer and teacher, dedicated to helping you learn about the art industry and living up to your potential. Whippy! Alright, so today before we get started, I wanted to share with you a class that I'm starting. It's a character design workout. It's going to be on schoolism, and it's not a class. Basically, you're going to be drawing alongside with me and doing workouts from about 8 to 20 minutes whenever you like. And I'd encourage you just as always, just always draw. And that's the most important thing. Wherever you can get your own personal workout, that's what you want to do. It's going to always help improve your just strength as an artist on every level. Again, what are you suffering with? What do you struggle with? What do you need to get better at? Important things to definitely do. So that's going to be on schoolism starting today. All right, so I wanted to talk today about, as typically, I don't always know what the subject's going to be. I kind of let the week kind of happen, and as the week sort of happens, whatever I'm feeling, those are things where I might jot down, and that might be what I'm going to lead into the conversation. And so today I wasn't necessarily sure, but then just before I came up to my studio, my wife read an email that she just got, a notice from Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, that San Diego Comic-Con is officially not going to be open this year. Now, we kind of knew that. We knew it wasn't going to be open. And it's those things where you kind of, it's not going to open. There's no way. But then the reality hits, and then you get the actual notice. And that's when it just kind of becomes a stinger. And what it did for me at that moment that I wanted to share with you is it kind of I felt like a little piece was taken out of me. You know, it's the weirdest thing. I've been going to Comic-Con since my son was born. He's 17 years old, and it has a very special place in my heart, San Diego Comic-Con, because it not only was it just tough to get into, it was something where I believed that this was going to be a start for me, a place where I would just start to be what I wanted to be, do what I want to do. It was my first place for me to showcase who I was really as an artist. I was working in the animation industry, and what had happened was that year I was working on a comic, and I made a sketchbook, and I thought this year I'm going to go out there and just sell it and put myself out there. And it was the year that my son was going to be born. And so we knew this was back in 2000, in the year, 2002. And in 2002, at that moment, we're just realizing that, the baby's going to be coming, but oh no, it's going to be born over Comic-Con. It was just like in August, the Comic-Con was coming up, and it's like, oh my God, this is going to be, I've paid for my booth, I've paid for all my printing, I've done all this, and it's coming during the time of Comic-Con. What are we going to do? And what we ended up doing was safely, we were talking to the doctor and saying, this big thing's coming up, and we've spent lots of money, and this is a really big deal, and so is having the baby a big deal, but we want to do things safely, and we know that people will sometimes be induced for certain things. And the doctor said, listen, you're going to be fine. If you feel that you need to have your son induced safely, it's perfectly fine, and you could do it because of the health issue. Everything's healthy, and you're doing so great. And so because of Comic-Con, my son was induced pregnancy, which was on his birthday in July. And just because I needed to go to Comic-Con. So that year, and it always resonates, and I've been at Comic-Con ever since, every single year for 17 years. And it's like you can't not go to Comic-Con, because if you don't go to Comic-Con, even more so now, you'd lose your space. And everyone knows how hard it was to get into Comic-Con. I think there was like 1,000 people on the waiting list. And it's one of those shows where it attracts so many people. And it's such a thing that right now, absolutely, you can't do that. I don't even know, even if they did say Comic-Con was going to go, that I would even go to Comic-Con unless there was a a cure, really, a vaccine, just for that extra bit of safety, because there's no way, it just wouldn't be the same experience anyway. And so it really kind of hit home today when I found out that it wasn't going to be there. And it just reminded me of the importance of Comic Cons and why they are so vital to the artist, and how meaningful they are to people's growth and experience and experimenting with whatever you may do. It's such a great place for someone to come up with an idea and almost test it and see how people react. I've been trying to tell people to go to comic conventions always. I always will encourage people, hey, develop your own property and go to a convention. Show up in an event, because that's where you get to show yourself to other people and see how they react to you. Now, some people aren't going to get the positive reactions that they want. Some people, they're going to walk by them all day long and not sell anything. And some people are going to be doing very well, and they're going to have lines of people waiting for them to, autograph their book, like a lot of these comic book artists. And just as one of these things where it's almost a goal setter too, because when you have a Comic-Con, it becomes, okay, I know Comic-Con's in July, and I need to get I'm starting to work on, sorry, I got something in my eye. I'm starting to work on my own book. I'm developing my own print. I'm doing something. And now I'm going to have that date that I want to get it ready by. So it gives you this sort of goal to try to accomplish something. So one thing that you want to make sure that you are going to do during this time is don't let that goal of your Comic Cons and your conventions that are being canceled just be the time to give up and go, well, it's not happening, so I'm not going to do it. I encourage you during this time to make sure that you go still full force. Pretend the Comic-Con is coming. Pretend the other conventions are coming. Just do it, because the conventions are going to come back. It's just a matter of time. Things are going to be different. We know we're entering just it's going to be just a new way of psychologically thinking about it. When I walk into an event, when I walk into an environment, oh my God, look at all these people. Holy moly, that guy just sneezed. That guy coughed. Whoa, I'm going to make sure that I got stuff just to rub my hands. That guy shook my hand and it was sweaty. And then I touched my face and I ate something. These are all psychological things that we're going to just change based on really habit. But I think it's so important, this is why the Comic-Cons, they are meaningful, and they become a place of business and a place of commerce. And a lot of artists that I know, including myself, it's a big part of your business. It's a big part of what you do. You've created something as an artist. You develop something, your own children's book, your own print, your own t-shirts, your own little vinyl toy, whatever it is, your own comic, whatever it is that you made. You're now going to a marketplace where people voluntarily find and willingly discover what you're selling and find value in it. And to them, they want to now pay you for that service. Trade that's been going on forever. When you think about the markets, the supermarkets just became an extension of a farmer's market of same thing. Farmers working hard, producing their goods. Like artists, we produce our goods and we go out and we sell it, and we do it online, and we do it in all these different areas. So Comic-Cons play such a vital role. So it's hard. And when you hear it and these cons getting canceled, and just, I know for Comic-Con, it was such, God, man, it felt like such a real blow. It felt like that's the Comic-Con of all. It's like the king, the queen. And when the queen falls, all of a sudden, it's like the queen bee. And now the queen bee falls, and what happens from there is just all the others. Well, if Comic-Con can't survive, how can these other ones survive? I almost think part of me, to the extent the smaller ones, why they're going to be ones that will benefit, not just benefit, but why there will be a resurgence in them, because they're small enough anyway. There's a limited amount of people where they're not so crowded to where it's going to be easy to maintain, where all of a sudden when you're talking about hotels and restaurants and the whole city is involved, that's a big thing. All these hotels have to now reimburse everyone's money. So they lost all that revenue. They got to give back all that money that those guys have made. All those restaurants that that thrive on San Diego Comic-Con rely on that. All those, there's so much when you think about the posters that have been made, the things that have been printed, the expense, and in all honesty, this is going to be very, very hard on Comic-Con, on San Diego Comic-Con. Just the revenue that they're going to lose, the amount of employees that are going to lose their jobs, all the security, all these people. I mean, this is a big deal. This is like a real sort of reality. And before it was just like, yeah, it's probably going to get canceled, but now it's the reality. And so I just kind of wanted to reflect on that today, but really just talk to you guys again just about what Comic-Con means to me and how special it is. And I've been going there every single year, all these years. You never want to give up your space. It's just a place just to meet people. I love doing conventions because in a sense, I'm a hermit. This quarantine is kind of very normal to me. I've been doing this for many years, and I work from my home in my home studio, and I freelance for clients, and I work for, doing my own projects, and I do the conventions, and I do talks, and I do workshops, and I do all these things. But those things are now kind of been pushed off to the side, right? Where now it's a whole different ball game, and I love going out there and meeting people, and I feel like, man, that's gonna get taken away right now. Is what I'm feeling. It's just like my connection to people in that way is going, as many people are, their connection to people. They want to be around people. And I know things are going to start easing up. Different governors are going to have their different restrictions. Different countries are going to set, have their different rules. And I think as long as everyone is kind of following those guidelines, still just being conscious and around other people. If you're sick, don't be sneezing, don't go out, don't do things like that. But yeah, this is a really, it kind of hit me today. It kind of hit me today on this, knowing that. And knowing, I mean, WonderCon was first canceled. That was the big one. Yeah, so a lot of those things. So that's kind of what I'm kind of going through. Today there's a little bit of an emptiness inside me knowing that it's not going to happen. But I can tell you one thing, that I've been working on stuff. And that's what I encourage you guys to do, is I've been working on videos. I've been working on my own personal books and things that I want to release for next year's Comic-Con or the thing before. Again, whatever it is, just work on your own projects. Just work on your own things. You have to do things for yourself. You have to allow yourself time in each day, whether it's an hour, whether it's 4 hours, 5 hours, to just work and develop and create stuff. I'm just right now working very diligently with some friends of mine on a pitch to animation studios. I haven't done that in years, forever. And now that time has come again where it's just like, hey, why not? Why not try? And I think that's the mindset that I have with all this. As we start to see all these things closing down and shutting down, my philosophy and my mindset is, why not? Why not just keep trying? Why not just keep moving forward? Why not just keep going? Because this is where we are. This is the reality. There's no point in letting this time go to waste. That's the worst thing we can do, is allow this time that we have to go to waste, to look back and reflect and go, I wasted that time because this didn't happen. And you constantly making the excuses, well, Comic-Con's not happening. That's another reason why I'm not going to work on my project. It's the same thing where I just see in Inktober, people get so into it. They set these goals for themselves. Every day I'm going to create something and post it, but then all of a sudden that dissipates after October. They lose the momentum, they lose the steam, they lose encouragement, all these things, when just having that mindset, you know what, I'm going to create these things. And through these projects you want to create for yourself, they don't always have to turn out to be something. Like everything that you're doing for a Comic-Con doesn't have to necessarily be something you're going to sell or do for a Comic-Con. Everything that you're doing is going to potentially be, not number one, it's going to help you grow. It's going to make you a better artist because you're working through drawing problems or painting problems, whatever you're going through. You got to work through those problems in order to figure this out on your time. You're not relying on a paying client. You're not relying on, because you're doing it sweat equity. You're doing it for yourself in order to eventually put out there. You're not having to deal with that client pressure. You're not having to deal with those deadlines unless you're on personal deadlines. But you set these goals for yourself, and you do this for yourself, and then it not only does it improve your skill, but then it can become a portfolio piece. if it doesn't work out, well, now you've developed something where you can start to showcase yourself, because your exposure is the most important thing, that you give yourself exposure. You share the exposure. I'm not just giving people all this stuff. You're doing it for yourself to showcase what you do, and that's why you put this investment into it. So there's many more reasons to invest in yourself other than just waiting to get money at the end of the tunnel. That should never be the goal. The goal really is to do these things for your enjoyment. The goal is to do these things for your own growth, to truly just give you that something to beyond your regular, whatever your regular day job is, whatever your regular home life is like. Is to constantly develop your skill set, all right? So that's the most important thing here. But yeah, just keep working on those projects. Don't let the Comic-Cons that they're going away this year. Oh, it's hard, but know that they'll be back. That's the most important thing. And again, today, if you guys go to schoolism.com, I have a brand new workout where it's just not a class. It's just you guys get to work out, draw alongside me, learn something new, try it out. I had a lot of fun doing it. All right, thanks for watching, and make it a great week. Take care. To learn more about my Skype mentorships and workshops, please visit silvertunes.com, and if you like, sign up for my mailing list where you'll be notified of any upcoming workshops or events. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.